Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Chats with Chaudhry. I hope you're safe and well. It's a mixed afternoon here in Surrey today, but my day will be brightening up. So I'm delighted to be joined by my good friend, Anil Busimi, who is the Global Marketing Director for Terumo Pharmaceutical Solutions, Injectable Drug Delivery. And not surprisingly, today we're going to be looking at some of the challenges and trends across injectable drug delivery. So, Anil, lovely to see you. How are you, my friend?
Great to see you, Rizwan, and thanks for the opportunity to be part of the chat with Chaudhry. And also, it's a privilege for me to represent the Terumo Pharmaceutical Solutions here today afternoon.
Well, thank you very much. And actually, you can tell that you come from the Indian subcontinent because you pronounced Chaudhry perfectly in terms of that. So there you go. So I'm glad to hear you say it. Anyway, so where are you calling in from today?
I'm calling in from Switzerland. And actually, as you said, the weather today is beautiful. I think we are seeing some sunny day after a long time, actually. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, well, it's very variable here in the UK, but it is sunny right now. So and actually, we're very fortunate compared to some of Europe, obviously, with the wildfires and everything. So we're very lucky. Now, before we start talking about injectable drug delivery, can you give people a quick overview on your own background and a little bit about Terumo for those not familiar with the company?
Yeah, I will start with Terumo, maybe as a company background. Terumo is a global leader in medical technology area. And actually, this year is a very special year for Terumo because we are celebrating our 100 years of foundation. But I think one thing which remained unchanged over the 100 years is Terumo's mission, which is contributing to society through healthcare. And I think especially now, given the context of the pandemic over the last 1.5 years, I think this mission statement, is definitely has a lot of value both for the society and also for the Terumo associate globally, who are contributing every single day, not only to get rid of this pandemic, but also to make sure that the health of every individual on the planet is saved. So I think over the last 100 years, Terumo has expanded its portfolio, and today Terumo has an extensive portfolio in the areas of vascular intervention, cardiosurgical solutions, blood transfusion, cell therapy, and also a lot of products which go into the hospital environment, and also for diabetes patients, a lot of solutions. And one of the businesses I am a part of is called the Alliance business, which is mainly focused on business to business for the pharmaceutical industry. On one hand, providing medical devices and drug delivery solutions. On the other hand, providing fill and finish operation services to the pharma companies.
Right. Okay. And I know you only recently, well, I say recently, it's been a few months now, joined Terumo. So what's your background?
My background, I have a Master of Science degree and an MBA. And after my education, I started working in the industry. And I think I spent the last 15 years in the pharmaceutical industry, mainly around primary packaging and drug delivery devices. And I really fell in love with this area because if you look at, it's a great opportunity to make a difference to the people's life. Especially working closely with the pharma companies, who are working on cutting edge drugs, and being part of that story, helping or enabling the pharma companies to bring new drugs and make those drug delivery systems safe, effective, and painless to the patients. And I think that's an incredible journey. I'm very privileged to be part of this journey.
Yeah, well, in fact, the last time I saw you face to face was, I can't remember that. It was at an SMI event where you were chairing the event, and that was way back in January 2019 when there were such things as live events, although I know they're coming back with CPHI North America has been running this week. So moving on, I mean, you mentioned that you joined relatively recently. So just as a sort of an aside, what's the challenges you faced joining an organization during the pandemic, particularly given that you've got a very senior role there? I mean, and working virtually with the team, you've been onboarded basically virtually when you started.
Yeah, that's a great question, Rizwan. Actually, I joined in October 2020, so still in the midst of a pandemic. So I I had to do everything virtually. I did not have a chance to meet any of my colleagues, team members, or even my supervisor. But I managed last month for the first time after 9 months. I met my team members. I met my supervisor. And I think it's a fantastic feeling, to be honest, to meet again people in person. So I think that has been the first challenge, is onboarding virtually. But to my experience, both my colleagues at the HR and also my own team did a great job in actually supporting me, in helping me onboard even virtually and get into all the topics. Yeah. But having said that, I think the flavor of meeting people in person, what I got last month, I think that's what I'm looking for moving forward, a good mix between virtual and the real world. I think would definitely go a long way. Yeah.
Well, that leads on actually to my next question, which is obviously that's internally, but as a business, how has the pandemic impacted how you manage your relationships with your customers and partners? Because obviously that's very, very important. And historically, people have gone face to face to see their clients, they've met them at shows and so on. So how have Terumo managed that situation?
I think, as you mentioned, I think one of the great, I would say, events or places we meet customers or actually start a lot of conversations are the industry trade shows or exhibitions or conferences. And unfortunately, all of them have been moved into virtual setting. I would say the experience definitely has not been the same, although I know that all the organizations are doing a great job in improving the tools and really making it very close to a real-time experience. I think this has been definitely one of the challenges, keeping in contact with the customers and also having the conversations going on, both on the business and also to solve some of the challenges. But I think what we did, like many other companies, try to use the digital channels as much as we can. And I think this has been definitely one of the quickest thing we all adapted and also showed resilience in terms of doing business and not stopping things, but using the digital channels for the communication. And I think that's what we did. And I think we also introduced a couple of new ways in interacting with the customers. And I think it's been a great experience. But I'm sure, especially my colleagues in the sales organization are also looking, including myself, are looking at the future where we can have a balance of digital tools and the in-person meetings again.
So you mentioned there was a couple of new ways that you were interacting with customers. What were those new ways?
So one of the new digital channel we introduced recently is our brand new website. It's called www.terumopharmaceuticalsolutions.com. It's all written in one word. I would appreciate if you can put it on
sure.
Yeah. Because websites are the first place where people are looking for information. Yeah. And I think our idea was to make it very easy and simple to find the information which the customers or our partners would look for. So we structured the website in a way that our customers and also our partners would find all the relevant information in one place and also easy to navigate. So that's has been the main purpose, and we launched that website very recently. So I would encourage all the viewers to go visit our website and have a look at the portfolio of products which Terumo Pharmaceutical Solutions has to offer.
Well, I'll put the link obviously above the video when we put the post out. And you said there's two. So what was the other way that you've been communicating?
Of course, if you look at from the tools perspective, we all moved our meetings into a virtual world. We use Teams as our platform, both for internally and also most of the external meetings, or sometimes the Zoom platform or many other platforms. But again, I think most of these platforms have been very, very valuable to still continue those collaborations and the meetings, both internally and also with the external partners and the customers.
Great. Right. So let's talk about the challenges and trends then within the injectable drug delivery space. So from your perspective, you said you've worked in the market for a long time, so you're pretty au fait with what they are. What do you see as the main challenges and the trends across the market, and how are you as a business addressing them?
One of the key trends, if you look at, especially on the injectable drugs, is the biological drugs. I think the number of biological drugs are increasing, and all these drugs are very, very specific to a therapeutic regime or a disease condition. But I think these drugs are also very complex and sensitive. They bring their own challenges. So I think it's a trend, the growing biological drugs, but at the same time, they bring challenge. I will address the challenges later. But I think the second trend I definitely see is everything around the patient centricity. I think both the pharma companies and also the partners of the pharma companies like us, who are in the area of drug delivery devices or injection devices, we have one thing in common, which is the patient centricity. It's a question we ask every day: how can we make it the devices very safe, effective, and also painless as possible, so that the patient comfort can be increased. To add to this, maybe, of course, we provide our products and services through pharma companies.
Sure.
And we also rely on the pharma companies to incorporate the inputs coming from the patients. But where there's a possibility, we also engage in direct research with the patients. And one of the recent case studies, actually, which we did, was related to the hemophilia patients, where we really looked at how hemophilia patients are administering the drug in a home setting. And I think hemophilia is even more complicated because these drugs are infused over a period of time. And most of the patients, they have to do it at home. And I think in our research, we wanted to really understand how do the patients integrate this drug delivery into their daily lives? What are the challenges do they face? And these are really very, very powerful insights we can gather and also incorporate them into our innovations, and also really bring new products to the market, which can really make a difference to the patient population.
Right. And is that research available to others to view?
Yes, actually, we published recently, and I think you will also see some of these case studies on our website, on our new website. And we also did patient testimonials, actually, patients who have been using these products, like the wing infusion sets, for example, for the administration of hemophilia drugs. So they have given their testimonials, and not only just on the products, but I think how to integrate such a very complex drug delivery administration into their daily lives. Right. So, but I think that's why we call ourselves, patient-centric in thinking and customer-centric in actions. Because patient-centric, because we have to think about the end user or the patient, where our products are used. Even if we supply our products to the pharma companies, which is the customer centricity, we want to make sure that we enable our pharma companies to really bring those cutting-edge drugs in the best possible drug delivery solutions.
Right. And how about the increasing regulatory requirements then? Does that have an impact, or have you seen that as a challenge going forward or a trend?
Yeah, definitely. I think even one of the key aspects of the regulatory authorities is the patient safety, and I think everything they can do and ensure patient safety, I think they're really asking the industry to adapt the latest technology or bring innovations to address this topic. I think if you look at from a regulatory landscape perspective, the changes which are happening even in the Europe, changing from MDD to MDR, I think is a significant change. But I think this is really done with the purpose to ensure even higher patient safety, and also really make sure that throughout the value chain, people take that responsibility and also bring in innovations to address that patient safety.
Sure.
Same thing we will see also on the US from FDA. I think there's a lot of scrutiny around particles, for example, in injectable drugs, both the visible particles or subvisible particles, and also any kind of interactions of the primary packaging with the drug, for example, or especially in the drug delivery. And what both the regulatory authorities are putting a lot of emphasis is on the human factor studies to make sure that whatever products and the solutions we bring are really patient-friendly and really address the needs of the patients in the real world. I think this is actually a very, very important change coming from the regulatory landscape, but really focused on patient centricity and safety, which was a cornerstone for us right from the beginning.
Well, that's interesting you say that, because I remember one of the last live events was PharmaPack in 2019, and it was interesting seeing how many medical devices at that time were smart devices and incorporated digitalization in terms of reminding patients when to take the medicine and also measure the dosages and the frequencies and so on, and also automation. So is that, do you think that's grown even more over the last 18 months, 2 years, in terms of the way people are moving towards drug deliveries, and what are the challenges around that?
Oh, definitely. I think one topic, digitalization, is on top of every pharma company agenda. And I think not only pharma company, but also all the actors in this industry. Already today, we see a lot of digital tools, right from the drug screening till the post-market surveillance, interacting with the patients directly, getting the feedbacks from the patients directly. So throughout that continuum, actually, we see a lot of tools being used. And I'm sure the pandemic or the last 18 months have only accelerated this topic. So I think we will continue to see that. And specifically on the device topic, which you touched, Rizwan, I think we already see a lot of injectable drug devices, whether it's auto-injectors or even the latest large volume injectors, for example. All of them have a connectivity or a digital aspect to the device, which is actually enabling patients, to actually share some of the data. And I think this data actually is going to be very, very powerful for the pharma companies to really get the insights, how a patient is interacting with the device, what are the challenges they encounter in a real world when doing the drug administration. And I think with all these insights, I'm sure there'll be a lot of new innovations which will come into the market. And I think that digital tools will definitely help. I would like to give also a very simple example, where we also bring in digitalization, for example. If you look at the needles, what we call the KPAC2 needles, which we supply, which are used in many of the vaccination programs and also many other drug administration therapies. Each of these needles, they have a 2D barcode on them. Actually, this is also part of a digitalization, which helps actually the pharma companies in their operations to track and trace the needles and to make sure that they really have the efficiency in the operations by tracking these needles. So again, it's one more aspect going into that area of digitalization and automation in making sure that the pharma companies have the right products for the right applications.
Well, and another issue, though, which obviously is becoming more and more prominent, particularly when you think about the environment and what's been going on with the weather, for example, is sustainability. So how is sustainability impacting the injectable drug delivery market in terms of the way you develop and design your products and also package them as well? So, I mean, how is that impacting what you're doing?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think sustainability, I see that in two ways. One is the environmental sustainability, and the second one I see is just also part of the social responsibility. We as organizations have. I think we should really look at a holistic approach. To say how do we make everything sustainable. And I think this is definitely one of the key topics for companies like Terumo and for all the actors in this industry to make sure that our products are really sustainable on one hand, to have a reduced carbon footprint. That's really important. To achieve that goal, I think we have to radically think differently, right from a product design. I think we have to incorporate some of the principles right from the design, saying and go through the end of the value chain, what we call cradle to cradle, thinking perspective, and saying how do we reduce the carbon footprint at each of the stages, and really make our product and solutions sustainable over the time. So I think this thinking process is actually very, very strongly embedded into Terumo's product development approach. And I think this is what we have been trying for all our products and then innovations we bring to the market. There's definitely a sustainability aspect. Yeah.
Right. Cool.
And at the same time,
sorry.
Yeah, I think added to that is also the social responsibility, which I think we also contribute in every aspect we can to make sure that we play our part in the society.
Right. Now, you did mention, though, when you started this, that some of the like pipeline that talking about injectable drugs and stuff, you'd come back and talk about it. So I'll give you an opportunity to just talk about what those challenges are and those initial sort of challenges that you talked about.
Yeah. So as I mentioned, I think if you look at the pipeline of injectable drugs today, there are maybe 3,000 plus injectable drugs in the pipeline, which is a massive and a very healthy pipeline. And out of these 3,000 drugs, many of them are biological drugs, And if you might know this, biological drugs are complex, are sensitive, they could interact with the environment, they could interact with the primary packaging, for example, any of the components. If you take a pre-filled syringe has many components, the barrel material, the stopper material, the needle, and everything. So a biological drug is definitely prone to interactions with all these materials. So one of the biggest challenges is how to reduce or even eliminate these interactions with these biological drugs. Yeah. So for this, I think we have one of our products in our portfolio, which is Plagex polymer prefillable syringes, which actually eliminates the use of silicone oil because silicone oil actually generates particles and which could have an impact both on the drug stability and also could cause issues for the patients in terms of patient safety. So we actually have an innovation which actually eliminates the use of silicone oil in the barrel. And at the same time, our polymer syringes, they do not use any glue for the needle attachment, or there's no tungsten residues, for example. So all these aspects, we tried actually to take out those components which could potentially compromise the drug stability over the shelf life. So I think that's one aspect. The second aspect, if you look at the biological drugs, today many of the drugs are targeted towards a very small patient population because these are what they call the targeted therapeutics. So I think the patient population is very small. But the challenge for the pharma companies is how do they manufacture these small batches, to make sure that they have the highest standards in terms of manufacturing, but in a smaller batch sizes. So even here, I think we can support the pharma companies with our primary packaging solutions and injection drug delivery devices to make sure that we can also address this challenge of the future drugs targeted towards a smaller patient population.
Brilliant. Well, Anil, that's a very comprehensive overview you've given me of what's going on in the drug delivery space, which is fantastic. If people want to get more information, you already mentioned it once, but I'll give you a chance to plug it again. Where can they get more information?
I think the first place I would encourage all the viewers is to go and visit our brand new website is www.terumopharmaceuticalsolutions.com. And again, Rizwan, I would appreciate if you can just post the address so that it's easy for everyone.
Of course, I will do. Sure.
Click in and then come and visit our website. And more importantly, if you want to reach out, I think please reach out to me or anyone at Terumo Pharmaceutical Solutions will be more than happy to have a conversation and find solutions to the patients.
Brilliant. And a quick question while I remember, are Terumo at PharmaPack this year?
We are planning to be there and also at CPHI. So if you are there, I hope that will be our first opportunity after almost 2 years to catch up in person. So again, I'm really excited on one hand to see that things are going back to the normal, and I hope that we will get back into that phase where we can again have meetings in person and face to face.
I look forward to it. Hopefully, we'll see. Well, you never know. The thing with this, with the whole thing with COVID is things change so dramatically in 24 hours. You just don't know, do you? So we will wait and see. But hopefully, we'll get to catch up in the near future, face to face. I would say, inshallah, God willing, we will do. So on that note, I will say it was lovely to see you, Anil. Thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. It's been a pleasure, as always, to catch up. Viewers, as Anil said, if you'd like to know more about the injectable drug delivery space, there's loads of information on the brand new Terumo website. So check it out. The link will be above the video. So you don't have to even remember what Anil just said about the address. The link is above the video. Just click on it and you can go straight to it. And as you can tell, Anil is a very personable chap and he's really knowledgeable. So if you've got any questions based on what he's talked about today, then feel free to put some questions below the video in the comments, and I'm sure he'll be only too happy to answer them. Or you can message him directly on LinkedIn, as he is on LinkedIn as well. So all that's going to say is, Anil, thank you once again, and thank you all for watching. Until next time, as always, stay well and stay safe. Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Have a